Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G just a touch. In this edition, residents of Kumewu express anger over stalled district hospital project, accusing government of failing to fulfill promise.
When
the health minister visited me, he promised the contractors would be on site in 2 weeks, but to no avail.
No end of the month, they will mobilize the site and start working seriously.
We'll hear from the DCU who was explaining the delay, as well as the health minister, government to complete 1,500 units of the Saglami affordable housing projects by December 7, while audit is underway for possible criminal prosecutions.
Major topmost priority of my ministry, and it's going to be done.
So what you're talking about completion is the completion of the buildings by December 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
We should complete it.
We have details shortly in sports.
FIFA's chief doctor warns against the restart of the interrupted 2019-2020 football campaign.
And later,
now watch me do my straight up. Alright, what's up? Listen. About him another him, I miss him. Michelle, she been a pro to win, you know.
We have the latest on the Azonto ownership controversy as music producer Apawu speaks out. All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. And this afternoon, residents of the Ashanti region town of Kumewu have expressed worry as work stalls on a district hospital project there. The facility is one of the 7 such projects started in 2014, but work has stalled for about 2 years now due to funding challenges. Government has just announced a plan to build 88 district and 6 regional hospitals within a year. Love FM's Nanaya Ojima has more.
On a tour of the Ashanti region by President Akufo-Addo last year, Health Minister Kwaku Agyeman-Manu assured contractors would move to site few weeks from the day of the visit.
No end of the month, they will mobilize the site and start working seriously.
This was in October 2019. Government says it found only $38.3 million of $175 million allocated for 6 district hospitals and a residential facility in various parts of the country. Kumewu and Fomena are part of the facilities financed by the United Kingdom Export Financing, and work was expected to be completed in 5 years. In July last year, ahead of the President's visit, the Health Minister gave the first assurance of resumption of work.
I've got to go ahead from government that the contractor should continue with 3, that we're getting close to completion. The Kumewu one is about 60% complete, and therefore in Ashanti region, these 2 could start.
Nothing has happened since then at the 120-bed facility site at Kumewu. Weeds continue to swallow the structures. Not long ago, an inferno swept through the place, raising everything to the ground. Some of the equipment have been carried away from the area, but still there are few ashes of the polytank and pipes here. Structures meant for staff residential accommodation attached to the hospital are almost done. Some of them have already been roofed. Here is Omanhene of Kumewu, Berima Trinebu Akodua, who sums up sentiments of his people over unfulfilled promises of fixing the hospital. When the health minister visited me, he promised the contractors would be on site in 2 weeks, but to no avail. The president also visited, and we haven't heard anything since. I organized the community to weed the place often in wait for them, but they never come. Our people are tired of weeding the place. As COVID-19 pushes government to embark on such health infrastructure expansion, the people of Kumewu can only hope what they refer to as the game changer would receive the needed attention. From Kumewu for Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Now, the district chief executive for the area, Samuel Ejekum, has been explaining why the project has delayed. He spoke to my colleague Enes Kujumenu a while ago on the news desk on the Joy News channel.
There was a forensic audit that was conducted, and it came out that out of the $138 million that was released by UKEF to the NMS, to government of Ghana, so that the NMS, as they execute the project, they measure and pay them, because the project is remeasurement. Clearly, as we speak, if you speak to NMS, they will tell you that the work that they've done, the Ghana government still owes them. Besides, contractual agreements such that when they import the prefab from outside, they were supposed to enjoy tax waivers. All of them, the government of Ghana did not adhere to, or did not obey the contract or respect the contract, and that for that matter, it has they had to also look at it again. So clearly they raise issues, and then the contract also the consultant, that is the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health Engineering team, also raised issues of tough standard in terms of wiring, and then the quality of the prefab. And let me tell you, in principle, the NMS team who came from UK agreed on the ground, and then they decided to do something about it. And the Minister for Health said, look, or the Ministry of Health team who came said, look, we have to sit up and make sure that we let the project continue. So just calculate whatever variation that arise out of the delay, because the project was halted. It was supposed to be completed in 16th October 2016. That the contract expired, and that we had to renew the contract, and then renew the letter of that is the LC, and then also restore the tax waiver that the previous government did not respect.
So in essence, you're saying that it is going to cost us more to get back to the project and have it completed?
Yes, as I'm speaking, if I'm not, my memory serves me right, the $38.8 million as we speak, even if we get that money, it cannot complete the project, because look at the...
So how much do we need? How much do we need to fix this problem?
The two projects, as well as to also initiate or continue that of Abetifi, we might need $93 million.
That's the district chief executive in charge of Kumewu, Samuel Ejekum. That's not all. At a news conference yesterday, the health minister, Kweku Agyemang-Manu, says government has not abandoned any project started by the previous administration.
As I speak today, we are negotiating on the value for money report with the contractor, and soon we will mobilize contractor for us to do short cutting to start construction of Koforidua Regional Hospital. We are scheduled to do district hospitals at Owasi, a trauma hospital at Enyinem, and rehabilitation of the NUNC government hospital. This is part of our program this year and next year. In the principle of continuity, government, after assuming office on the 7th of January 2017, has never abandoned any health facility that was started by the previous government.
That's the Health Minister, Kweku Agyemang-Manu. Let's stay a while longer in the Ashanti region, this time in Kumasi, where the Coordinating Council has begun measures to limit the number of vehicles entering the city centre. It's now begun issuing stickers to commercial vehicles. My colleague Erastus Asaridonko has been following this development. He joins us on the line. Erastus, what's the thinking behind this?
Well, so when you go to Dr. Mensah, you go to KGTR, you go to Achamfor Market, the number of vehicles coming into the city center is so huge. The congestion itself it brings, vehicular movement is not going on well, and then the number of people who are boarding these vehicles at the time prevents us from following the safety protocols under the pandemic. And it's against this background that the KMA has decided to issue new stickers to vehicles that will from next week be allowed to enter the city center at designated points per time. And so if you don't have those stickers belonging to, say, Bantama, you don't go and park at Bantama to load. The security agencies will not allow you. And the KMA Chief Executive, Honorable Osei Benchi, has been talking about this.
It has really come out that there are a group of people that do not want to work with law, and as such, anywhere that they found themselves, they want to do business with. And the monitoring team is to ensure that the worst offenders, that is those who go contrary to the traffic regulations, they will deal with them. Because they, by law, they have the right to be able to sanction them. So in moving around, even though the GPRTU and their reps are going to be there, that is members of the 24 unions are going to have their reps there. The KMA are also going to have our reps there. But as for the legal action that will be taken against the offenders, all the offenders will be referred to the police for police to prosecute them.
Now, from the KMA, let's talk about the AMA, because the Assembly has closed 5 shops for failing to observe the COVID-19 protocols. This was during the Joy Clean Ghana campaign tour of Kaneshie here in Accra. My colleague Nancy Emefa Apawu has just returned from the tour. She joins me in studio. Nancy, tell us about the development.
Well, Emefa, we visited about 7 shops today at Kaneshie, and 5 of them, first of all, did not have Veronica buckets as prescribed by the AMA in February. Now, they also didn't have sanitizers in there. They didn't have tissue. They didn't have any of this, and we're not observing social distancing at all. So Madam Inspector Florence Kuchi asked that the places be shut down because according to her, over 5,000 letters had already been served to shops across Accra, and she was expecting that all these shops were going to comply. But largely, a lot of them were not complying. When they saw the team coming in, then they rushed to go and get the buckets. But even then, the shops will remain closed.
Okay, so it looks like this is what they will be doing for some time now.
Yes, we'll be doing that for some time now. But there were also some shops that we're observing. We found a shop, an electrical shop. The man had a Veronica bucket with liquid soap with sanitizer, and then also there was a notice of social distancing, and so you don't cross a certain barrier into the shop. You stand aside while the shop attendant also serves you on the other side. And so there were 2 shops that were found to have provided all the necessary things that were needed for the shops to be open. So yes, largely that's what it was about today.
But Accra is clean though. You've been checking, I'm sure.
It's not as clean as when the lockdown was there, but yeah, largely better.
Okay, that's the Nancy Emefa Apawu, Clean Ghana campaign queen. She just returned from that tour, bringing us latest on that. Now, Minister of Works and Housing Samuel Atachia says 1,500 units of the controversial Saglemi affordable housing project will be completed by December 7. The 5,000 housing units facility was started by the Mahama administration in 2012, but the project has stalled for the past 3 years following allegations of misappropriation of funds. But speaking on the Super Morning Show with Daniel Darcy, the minister said he's committed to ensuring the homes are occupied after completion of audits.
If they said go and audit Saglemi at a cost of $1.2 million just to do an audit, to blow the minds of Ghanaians, is that how you spend our money? So you need to be shepherded properly and go to the surveyors, institute, and get the surveyors to do it for you, that authority. And that
the Survey Mapping Division of the Lands Commission?
No. The Institute of Surveyors.
Ghana Institution of Surveyors.
Yes, and they are ready to do us some good job. It's ongoing, and when we finish, we'll be able to use the audit for 2 purposes: to get a new contractor to complete the structures for human habitation, and also refer the matter to the appropriate bodies for criminal prosecution, because from our perspective, there's been misappropriation of funds.
Will this be done before December 7, 2020?
Certainly. This is one of the major topmost priority of my ministry, and it's going to be done in this exercise, but it will be soon. It will not be too long, because we need to complete them before the year ends.
So what you're talking about completion is the completion of the buildings by December 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
We should complete them.
1,500 or 5,000?
Oh, we could complete about 1,005.
You can complete 1,005
and then begin the rollout of the rest of the housing so that we hit the 5,000 units. That was the original intent of the contract.
So you had the Works and Housing Minister, Samuel Atachia. He also indicated that there's been suggestions to help tenants, but no concrete steps have been taken or put in place as relief for tenants during the coronavirus season.
Well, as a matter of fact, we've not had an influx of complaints that people are being evicted. And that is what we're trying to warn people, that we shouldn't go into that area. So there is no, if you like, a major displacement of individuals from their dwelling homes, and so the problem has not arisen for us to go along and find them spaces to live as a relief measure.
I'm speaking of tenants who are already in their homes, so persons who may have their rent due in the next few months.
Well, there's a package rollout and it's a work in progress, and when it becomes one of the things that they should look at, the first one was water, very, very prime, and they went into electricity. And then they also started distributing food. When it becomes part of the package, we'll look at it. But essentially, I would say that it's not become that very acute. It's not become something that is people who are really, really bringing to the fore that they are unable to pay their rent, and therefore the government should intervene.
That's Works and Housing Minister Samuel Atachia speaking about rent issues and the Saglami projects that were started under the Atta Mills administration. Now, the opposition NDC is accusing President Akufo-Addo of taking advantage of the COVID-19 national addresses to make a case for his re-election bid. A member of the party's COVID-19 response team, Alex Egbefia, says the recent pledge to build some 88 district hospitals was to score political points. President Akufo-Addo has addressed the nation 8 times since it recorded its first COVID-19 case in the month of March, announcing various measures, interventions and projects to contain the situation. The NDC's Alex Egbefia, who admits earlier addresses were devoid of politics, says he cannot say same for the last delivered on Sunday.
I thought that up until the point where the president entered into politics, it was a good presentation. It was good in terms of it stuck to the theme, encouraging Ghanaians to keep faith, trying to unite us as a country, trying to ensure that we took cognizance of the figures and trying to espouse to us what the strategy of government was in terms of what they were doing. I think that it took a downward spiral, unfortunately, when we entered into the era of the hospital or infrastructure, health infrastructure. I think that it was an unfortunate deviation from the style and the manner in which he delivered his previous speeches, and he opened a political door which should not have been opened, I believe, coming from him.
But national organizer of the governing NPP, Samia Uku, however, disagrees.
We are in an extraordinary situation. This is not a situation that any of the political parties ahead of the 2016 polls was able to forecast or predict. Be as it may, drastic situation demands drastic measures. And sometimes when progress demands change, there must be change. The president, in accordance with his constitutional mandate, has also kept us updated on the various issues as far as this COVID-19 is concerned. This is a leader that from day one, he has said that he's not going to play politics with it. The time for politics will come. But let's get out of this pandemic, and then we can articulate our views on political situations.
We can now hear from political marketing strategist Dr. Kobi Mensah, who says the failure of the EC to develop guidelines for political campaigning is to blame.
I see the two political parties as, taking the opportunity, being opportunistic in the way they actually, using the crisis. Now, I put the blame squarely on the doorsteps of the EC. I am of the opinion that our EC is one of the weakest institutions because they've been very, laid back. They've been very slow in responding to emerging, issues when it comes to political campaigning. If you look at our EC, for example, they do not have any guidelines. Some political parties actually, drew the attention of the EC that there is a possibility of campaigning in this event, in this crisis. I'd never heard the EC coming forward to say, well, we're going to actually check that.
You hear there, Dr. Kobi Mensah, political marketing strategist. They all spoke on the PM Express show. It's a good time to talk about the global situation when it comes to COVID-19. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, is in the studios with details. What are they now?
Well, Emefa, the United States have now crossed 1 million case mark, with the world's most powerful country suffering being the worst affected country. Now, 1/3 of all global cases are in that country. The whole world now, we have 3 million cases, as you know. But there's some good news, Emefa. Australia and New Zealand say they've successfully contained the outbreak. The two countries each have case fatality rate of just above 1%, and that's compared with 6% in the United States and 13.5% each for Italy and the United Kingdom. They are also no longer reporting community spread, and their borders remain shut. And in the case of Australia, it's been the 7th consecutive days without community spread. That's great news for us. On the Johns Hopkins COVID-19 dashboard, there are more cases being recorded around the world. Of course, the United States topping the chart there with 12,000 cases with nearly 60,000 deaths. 1 million cases, I beg your pardon. Spain has recorded 325 deaths from the previous cases overnight, and it's now gone up. But health officials said the epidemic was evolving favorably as the country prepares for a gradual easing of its lockdown from next week. The overall death toll from the virus rose by 453 to 24,275 according to the health ministry, and they said that the additional cases were from previous days in the region of Galicia. In China, they are easing lockdowns as the number of new coronavirus cases dwindle, but it remains vigilant to stop a second wave of infections. The new measures promote civilized behavior, and social distancing and hygiene measures also remain in force in China. And we know the WHO has already warned that Brazil is becoming a hotspot. The country has 73,000 cases and 5,000 deaths so far. In Africa, Egypt, South Africa, Morocco, Algeria are have the most cases, with the highest, Egypt, nearing the 5,000 case mark and 359 deaths there. Now, Ghana has not had an update since yesterday's update. We still have 1,671 cases and 16 deaths so far. 188 of them have so far recovered.
Thank you so much for always keeping us updated. We'll take a quick break on the midday news stories we've covered so far. We've been to Kumewu, where residents have expressed anger over stalled district hospital projects there. Also, government is set to complete 1,500 units of the Saglemi affordable housing project by December 7, while audit is underway for possible criminal prosecutions. When we return, we have sports and also the latest on the Azonto controversy as music producer Apietu speaks out.
Power that's totally who came if you get a feel like a neighbor party who came young quay. Azonto, now watch me do my Azonto.
Straight up. Alright, what's up? Listen. About him and that him, I'm missing my Michelle, she been on the throat to win, you know. What come up and not to chill in the young mim.
Power.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports with Hansman Sando.
And FIFA's chief doctor has warned against restarting the interrupted 2019-2020 season and suggested governing bodies prepare for action next season instead. Michael Dehogi said in an interview with the BBC that as a doctor, he will be skeptical about continuing leagues amid the coronavirus pandemic.
As the situation is today, there are a lot of arguments to say that we should not yet play competitive football. It is very difficult to avoid social distancing. As far as I know, and I am in football since more than 50 years, there is always a direct contact. Football is a contact. And secondly, group formation. Players together on the field, players together in the dressing room, players together under the shower, but also the public with thousands of people. And of course, you could say we will play with closed doors, but the experience and the past learns me that there are always groups of fans coming together, even in secret locations, and I don't think it's the moment to do that. Of course, the situation is different from country to country. The peak is not reached at the same moment on the same places, but I think that today, the 28th of April, we are not ready for competitive football. And of course, your next question will be, when then? And that is perhaps the most difficult question of all, because we cannot see what will happen in the coming 3 weeks and the coming months. So my proposal is, if it is possible, avoid playing competitive football in the coming weeks and try to be prepared for the start of a good competition next season.
Michel Dehogi is FIFA's chair, is the chair of FIFA's medical committee. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Hans. We move to the Upper West region now, where Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy has disclosed that Ghana will partner with other African countries to develop a vaccine for new cerebrospinal meningitis strain. At least 43 people have been killed in the Upper West region. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam followed a trip by the Deputy Minister to Wa following the outbreak of the disease there. Here's his report.
Remember, I didn't come here on my own. I was sent by the Minister for Health. And he told me, Doc, make sure you don't get back to Accra unless the situation is under control. And as I speak, by courtesy of your hard work, the situation is under control.
Dr. Okoboy looks ahead to finding a permanent solution to put a lid on the new strain known as serotype X that is responsible for the deaths of 70% of the patients.
When you find yourself dealing with a novel or new virus and a novel or new bacterium, your attitude must also be novel. You must be dynamic. And that is what we have seen here. And quickly, we would also partner with our partners both in Africa and beyond to see how we can quickly develop a vaccine, be it a protein-based, conjugate-based, or polysaccharide. We want to protect our population so that we can save lives.
While the people wait for the development of a vaccine for the new strain, Dr. Okoboy asked for early reportage of the cases to the various health facilities.
Even when they get a temperature or a headache, they shouldn't wait for neck stiffness or neck pain. In fact, the doctors will tell you by the time your neck starts getting stiff.
Now that CSM seems to be under control, they can now focus on fighting the unknown enemy, which has claimed thousands of lives around the globe with no divided attention. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now back here in Accra, let me tell you the story of Ajoy Jewa, a single mother of two, now struggling to return to her job as a house cleaner because no client will allow her into their home after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ajoy Jewa was one of the citizens who believed a partial lockdown in parts of the country was bad for business. Like many Ghanaians, she waited eagerly for the president's address on Sunday, 19th April 2020. The ban was lifted, but Ajewa would face a hurdle. No client will admit her into their home. Everyone is being careful.
The times are not good at all. I used to get paid for washing services just a few months ago. Even friends turn me away now. I can barely take care of my children. Customers say now they've resorted to using washing machines.
She walks with me over to her sleeping place in New Fadama, a wooden structure sitting among a cluster of kiosks. The setup looks like it may cave in any time. Most of the room is covered with old dusty clothes, car spare parts, and rusty metals. Ajewa shows me an old refrigerator in the corner on which her two daughters, Veronica, 18, and Juliana, 17, squeeze to sleep at night. When I asked about where she slept, she points at the ground.
I usually sleep on a piece of plywood.
PSC and Anaya Safo's report will tell you the full story subsequently. And now let's talk about the dance that's generating a lot of controversy.
Now watch me do my straight up. Alright, what's up? Listen.
And Becky is in the studio. I think you can do Azonto Ama. They are watching you on Facebook. Get up and do it properly. What's the controversy though?
Emefa, let me tell you how it started. So, Sarkodie came out with Fahu Kimi. Just to bring back Azonto, calling for people to jump on Azonto because Azonto is ours, it's our genre, let's support it. People like EL, Stage A, Strongman, Keche, they all came out to support. Then Gas Miller came out to say that, see, you guys are disrespecting me, you want to take my shine. I brought Azonto. You have to respect me and acknowledge me. Somebody else too came out, Stage A. Yes, I'm the brain behind Azonto, blah, blah, blah. Today, Apietu says, listen, Azonto is ours. What we're supposed to be doing is supporting it and taking it to the world. So there's nothing like I brought Azonto and this person brought Azonto, but I know how to do Azonto.
You know how to do it. I doubt, but they are watching you on Facebook. I'm sure that at this point you show us how to do it. Matt, that's it for the midday news.
Yeah,
right?
definitely we'll be back tomorrow.
With more on 3 Music. All right, there's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. In the meantime, you can still do your moves, Azonto.